This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the New York Times, Russia-Ukraine war. Diplomats walked out on 2 Russian speeches at the United Nations. 2 of the world's largest shipping companies have suspended cargo bookings to and from Russia, and a slew of new energy, car, and semiconductor companies have announced that they'll be pulling their assets from Russia and/or no longer doing business with them as sanctions come into effect. The U.S. expelled 12 Russian UN diplomats over security concerns, saying they were engaged in espionage, though U.S. spokespeople have said this was an ongoing thing and isn't directly connected to the conflict in Ukraine. Russian citizens have continued to protest against the war, with thousands of arrests at these protests officially tallied each day. Major tech companies like Meta and YouTube have started restricting government-owned media channels like RT beyond Russia's borders, and Ukraine has requested EU membership, possibly with the intention of using it as a bargaining chip with Russia during their next or subsequent peace talk sessions. We're just now beginning to see some of the economic weaponry being leveraged by outside supporters of Ukraine come into effect, though the mere threat of some of these sanctions and bans has already caused significant damage to the Russian economy and the international perception of it. Large rocket explosions have been tracked in Kyiv and Ukraine's second-largest city, which destroyed Kyiv's main TV tower and killed at least 7 people. And a lot of economic recalibration is happening across Europe, as several EU member states have decided that their plans to rely on Russian gas for the next decade or 2 might not be the best idea for security and reliability reasons. From Reuters, Australia steps up flood relief efforts as Sydney braces for heavy rains. After days of torrential rains and flooding, Australia military personnel continue to airlift people stranded in overwhelmed neighborhoods to safety, and the official tally indicates 10 people have died as floodwaters have surged into towns and washed across bridges. This storm system is expected to bring similar flooding effects to Sydney in the coming days. Tens of thousands of people have already been evacuated in afflicted areas, and more evacuations are expected. Australia's third-largest city, Brisbane, has received about 80% of its usual annual rainfall in the past 3 days alone. And from Nikkei Asia, Singapore carbon tax gallops ahead of Japan and Indonesia levies. Singapore has announced that it will increase its carbon tax 5-fold in 2024, with further increases in 2026, 2027, and 2030. This is being seen as a generally welcome and aggressive move by Singapore, as carbon taxes internalize externalities companies don't otherwise feel monetarily. It charges them for every ton of CO2 they emit into the atmosphere, and the cost will go up to about $18.60 per ton in 2024. Singapore introduced their carbon tax in 2019, and their declared intention is to rapidly convert their economy to focus on renewable energy and sustainable manufacturing practices. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.